To order. The certification of open meeting laws requires been made. Is that correct? Yes. Roll call of committee members, please.
Lyon present.
Adams here.
Rich Anderson's here.
Petrick here.
Whalen's here.
Galazinski's here.
Severson is here. Okay. Can I get an adoption of the agenda?
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Perfect. Approval of the 6/3/2025 regular meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? And then we have the public comment. The call-in number is 715-538-1894. 715-538-1894. And we'll just go ahead and continue on the agenda, and if someone calls in, we'll interrupt. Great River Road update. Jeannie, you are on.
Okay, the 22 Wisconsin Department of Tourism released their annual Wisconsin and counties report for the state, and for 2023, the total business sales, well, actually 2022 was $68 million. In 2023, it was 70. In 2024, we had 70, so we stayed the same. We direct visitor spending, we were up 41.40 million. Total employment, we were up 423. Total labor income, 9,070,000, and state and local tax for millions was 3.60 million. So we did good. All the Wisconsin Great River Road went up, so we're very happy with that. In regards to what Wisconsin Great River Road is doing, we are almost done with the Mississippi River, which would be the extra biking that would go all 10 states. We have 65 of 69 resolutions for the state of Wisconsin. We might not get one resolution, but the rest of them we have. Andrew Nussbaum is involved in a lot of the things that we're doing, and he recapped the happenings during the weekend of May 25th, which of course is the governor's day for. Sorry, my brain is just not working today. For the state of Wisconsin. Advertising is being done on the social media for all 8 counties. The state fair is August 2nd. The counties are looking for volunteers. It would be a shift. They're breaking it up into 4-hour shifts. So if someone from Trempealeau County would want to do it, that'd be great. The 2026 visitor guide, the drone shots are going to be done and used. Anyone that has any, and I believe we have some already in our files, and I'll have to double check on that for the 2027 and other things that we'll be using for 2026. And the Chicago Travel and Trade Show will be in February 21, 22, and 2026. And there's 5 partners from up and down the Wisconsin Great River Road doing that. So that's where we're at.
Great job. That's awesome. Do you need any more partners on that Chicago one, or are you all set?
I will double check because sometimes things come in and it's not emailed out. So I will find out today and email it out.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Jeannie, for that great report. And then we are up for some exciting news from Rebecca.
Yes, I am super excited announce and let you know that we have hired for the new communications position. If, just as a reminder, with Dave retiring, this was a hire, I'm taking his position and combining it with communications, so he'll still have economic development, tourism, along with the communications piece. And so we've got a really great hire, Lexi Boynton, who is from, or currently living in Ettrick with her husband and 3 children. And she's got some great experience and background, and so she'll start July 7th. And I'll meet with her once she's, takes the morning to get through all the paperwork and everything, the onboarding. Then I'll meet with her, as well as Jess Wilds from the group that's been working with us as interim. And we'll meet with her, and she's got a lot to start on. We've got a great plan ready to go, and so I think that the interviews went really well, and we had some great candidates, and she's going to be fantastic, and really looking forward to working with her.
Yeah, I think she's going to be good too. Do you know her? Yeah, I didn't either, but I think she just recently maybe moved into that area, but
She grew up in Arcadia, apparently, so I don't know her maiden name. Others do.
which is super.
Okay,
Is she Lexi Lambert?
yes.
You know her.
I know Lexi well. Congratulations, nice hire.
Yeah.
I think that when all is said and done, not only just so that everybody knows, not only did she look at the strategic plan, she brought in other ideas of how to enhance that plan, where most of the other candidates just kind of said, yep, there's a plan, we'll follow it. I liked somebody that was out of the box and was saying, hey, these are other things that I can do. And I think she's going to be, I think knowing the area is a huge plus.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be big with getting the businesses to work together. And, we're going to try to do some really fun things like introduce her to the areas. I have a place on that side of the county that we'd be happy to introduce her to people. Stony Creek's got another place up on the Osseo area. We can maybe get something in the center and just kind of, really get her to know people quickly.
Yep.
And get some stuff going fast. So we're excited.
I touch on a couple other things, and just to talk about then, she'll have a little bit more learning to do on the economic development side of
Right.
the housing, childcare, broadband piece. But I have no doubt that she'll be able to catch on, and this goes in tandem then with that hire from UW Extension, that's the CDI. So we have the community development person that'll be starting in August. That individual will also be focusing housing, childcare, community, downtown redevelopment, where, again, we had set aside some funds last year, putting a grant opportunity together for small businesses, so this will all be kind of pulling together. I've had some further conversations about the childcare piece, and so I'm still working through some of that. I will be bringing that forward, coming up hopefully within the next month or two here, and more solid information. So she'll be working together with myself and the new hire through Extension. So I'm super excited. I think we've got some really great things in talking with Jack, and how Lexi can be a part of the park system as well, and promotion. And
Huge.
on a side note, I have to put in a couple plugs just to say, first of all, Jean, I did the Great River Road last weekend when my family was here, and so we decided, after doing a lot of outdoor and sightseeing and all that good things, we did that, and I want to just tell you, kudos, loved it. It was just awesome. We really enjoyed it, and I loved the shops along the way, of course, and the scenery. And on the way back, I did put in, into my GPS on how to get back to Arcadia. I was heading back that way, and the drive through Buffalo County was amazing. It's just breathtaking on some of the vistas that are around this area. So I just really enjoyed that. So I want to thank you and let you know again that it is well received. And then there was one other thing I was going to quick tell you. What was that? I'll have to pause because I can't think of it right now. But thank you for that. It was, I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you took the opportunity and went our 250 miles of our 8 counties. It's beautiful, like you said, the vistas, and it's just there is no other like us. So
Yeah, it is, there's great opportunity, really great opportunity to, increase on what we're doing, and it was really, oh, I know. The other thing I was gonna say is I went to the Strum Trails, also, and wow, what a incredible asset that is to the county, and I talked to Jack about that too yesterday, and how that will need to work further on how we promote that and continue to grow that opportunity in Strum area. It's really nice. Well done there.
Jean, just one quick more question. The directories.
Yeah.
How are we doing on those? Are you good with distribution, or do you need any help with that?
Wisconsin Great River Road distribution.
Yes.
I've got 4 more boxes they just dropped off at my house. So if you need any more, let me know. And I got some to share, and what was that? My husband took some over there, I think the other day. So if anybody needs them, just let me know.
I think we're out at the campground, and I think Stony is out too, Stony Creek.
Okay. I'll talk to you after the meeting, and
Sure.
we'll get something set up to get you guides.
Sounds great.
I will say on that guide, we picked one up too, when we
Yeah.
were out, and it was really well done, and we used it. We looked at all of the offerings, but the map was awesome to follow as well. That was really nice, so I
That-
appreciated the map in there to know, like, okay, this is what the river road is, and all of the communities along both sides of Minnesota and Wisconsin. It was really well done, so I appreciated that as well. Just want to give you a little feedback so you have that.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll pass it along. Thank you.
Thanks for all you do, Jean. We appreciate it. To the park report, Jack. Hit us with them highlights, buddy.
Thanks, Lori. So park report, we've got a guest on for item 11, so I'm going to be brief for the report and priorities. But we had a meeting with Ashley, Rebecca and I, and it went well. Cole Balick, Nathan Durkop, and there was one other lady in there. I can't remember her name. But yeah, things went well. We had kind of just an initial kind of discussion, main focus being, Trempealeau County in general, the natural play area, and then their big upcoming event. And we just kind of discussed those things and had a kickoff conversation based on the addition that we'd like to add to the park. And then UW Extension, just a little program update of what we're doing at the park. They do Progressive Safety Day. That was on July 19th. They'll have science camp at the end of July, and an outdoor skills camp. That is to be decided, probably in August sometime. And then we do have some plan. Majidoc kind of got put to next month. We're kind of set for to add an 8-foot add-on to the Majidoc to get it out a little bit further into the river, so we're at a better depth, so people aren't docking their canoes basically and kayaks when they're trying to get out of our new dock. Right now it's fine with the higher water level, but basically below is just a sketch of that Haley Passell with county conservationist did for us with land management, and just shows something simple of what it's going to look like down there. A road, an approach, similar to what you'd see with the Whitehall Lions one that just got done. We already have the gravel down there. We just want the dock to be set in. So just a simple sketch for you guys there. And then I'd say August 27th, we tentatively set things to get that done. So I'd say everything will be completed before September for the dock, which is good, right before fall colors. And then we had some gravel work with the highway department that I had to just mention to you guys. I think it's 727.87, nothing that needs to be approved committee-wise, but it does just need to be mentioned that we're working with the highway to get that gravel and eventually maybe do that work to get that path to the dock kind of set. And we could also do volunteers depending on highway's time and if they're available. All right, so that should be good for park report. Is there any questions?
Wonderful.
Just a comment, Jack. One thing that, and we were looking at your occupancy and stuff, and I was discussing it with my wife, and the fact that having Ashley have one of their shuttle buses come from that area, we got to make sure we keep that going, because I'm amazed how nice it is that
it's huge.
that's one of our
Yep.
shuttle drop-offs. And for Ashley, for the arts, I mean, that's a real highlight for anybody staying there. They just love the fact they don't have to drive.
That was another highlight in the meeting, probably one of the concluding items as we talked about our parking agreement. Got that signed right there.
Awesome.
And then Tom Shank, who would be the other partner in the agreement, he signed it the next day. So we got everything signed probably a month earlier than we did last year. And yeah, we
Nice.
talked about how do we
Advertise,
maneuver and if things are going in for the natural play area, we still want that to be something that we do.
Yes.
That's a real highlight for the park,
It
that's
is.
one of the
Absolutely.
spots,
Yep.
because people love
Actually,
it.
that's the easiest way in and out of Arcadia, because it's such a cluster down at that intersection. If they go to Petrick Park, they can park their car and the traffic is already spread out by the time they get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
there's
this
no
year-
hesitation in waiting.
This year, all we have to really worry about is those trees that were just planted. We'll probably put some like type of yellow rope barricade is what I was thinking. Just in a few spots, kind of lining off where the trees were planted. Still plenty of room. That takes up about maybe a quarter to a third of the 6 acres. So still plenty of room for people to park.
To tell you the truth, the proper way to do that would be a cone fence around them, because we
Think so?
got these species around here called deer that think it's a smorgasbord. And you put a cone around it and just put some ribbon around it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that to Craig.
Yeah.
Craig appreciates working with it.
That is a really good benefit. I think we pay $14,000 to move people from the campground to Ashley. So getting that at no cost is amazing, and it's a great benefit we better use, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah,
full.
for sure.
Especially since most amount of people in the campground that weekend, we want to be
Oh,
very
yeah.
accommodating.
They're going. Yeah, if they're coming there for that weekend, they're going.
Efficient weekend.
No.
No.
So are we on to campground occupancy?
It'd be park and outdoor recreation priorities.
Oh, sorry.
So got just water trail development. Whitehall Lions had their ribbon cutting, which was shared via social media, and we got that up through the proper channels, so people have seen it. And it was also a video done by our digital marketing, and so we have all that content available, and they just did a very nice job on their Easy Dock, and Jeff Howe installed it. It fluctuates with the water level like ours does, so like I've said in the past, two ports of accessibility, even though it's such a far distance, it's
Yeah.
still something that we can say that's, I'd say pretty unique. And like after doing all of, a little bit more research on these ports, there's 11 ports total that'd get us down to the Mississippi. And to have a water trail with that many ports, it's already got a lot of history. It's just letting visitors know a little bit better of what we got going on.
Right.
So if we can get down to the Mississippi, that's the goal. So this afternoon, I'll be kind of touring some of our southern ports and also meeting with the DNR with their Voyagers canoe route, kind of where the Trempealeau River dumps into the Mississippi. So if we can, advertise all those ports, I think it's going to be a very good tourist opportunity that we can promote with our new initiatives here.
Jack, the new economic development individual is from that Dodge Pine Creek area. So that'll be an advantage
Oh,
for getting
perfect.
down through especially down the, Lamberts are originally from that area down there, right above Pine Creek. So I think she'll have some background on what we can do to enhance some of those sites. If you
Yep, and
bring
then
that
there's
up.
just a key port. We've got such a big gap between Arcadia and Dodge.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a key port right in between there that I learned about. So I'll be looking at that too. It's a last name of Slobby, that would want to maybe just have a put in kind of by Lower Bridge Road.
So you're talking Noah Slobby's farm right up on the hill there.
Yep.
All right, I can bounce ideas off too as far as that
good.
gentleman.
Perfect,
Very
yep.
good for telling that it would be, really enhance the river action.
And I spoke to him, Daryl gave me the idea with elk rod and gun. So they seemed all for it, which they just want to have, an opportunity kind of similar to trout fishing. You're there to
Right.
use your watercraft.
Right.
And if you got a pole in your hand, you're there to fish. So he said people have been there to fish for years. It'd be no different. So he's all good with maybe some signage and just a parking spot. So
Awesome.
it is in Trempealeau. It's right on the line. Yep, right on the line. So Buffalo's on the other side, I believe.
That might be one of these we could apply for.
Which one is that?
County aid,
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's a great point, Bob.
would be $5,000. Well, $5,000 is $5,000.
Sure. I know Haley works with our conservation clubs too and gives them priority, but if no one applies, then definitely it's something where we can get some money there. That will be something I'd apply for sure. Thanks for mentioning that. Petrick Park Rodeo and Music Event Planning. So this is something, there might be a change here, and you guys are free to voice your opinion if you just want to get the committee's opinion here, but he would like the extension. He had it on Sunday, June 22nd, everything went as planned, but it was just too hot that day.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with kind of a political climate right now too, where, a public event might not be something everybody wants to attend. So between those two things, he did not do as well as he did last year, and then he had to pay us more as well. So just multiple factors on him not doing as well, and us, coordinating with him. He does want to do it Labor Day weekend, and those times are August 29th from 4 to 11:45, which would be a 2-hour extension. And I told him that's something that I've seen other parks have done, other county parks, but it's always been a fee and an extra segment attached to a permit. So that's something that isn't going to get done this year, but as I'm looking at park ordinances, I'd like to maybe incorporate that. So it's something that I'd want to set up for 26. Winnebago County has something similar there where they have an extension for their shelters that you can pay, I think it's like $250. So that's something I think that we'd work into the plan eventually. But with, this June event not going,
Yeah. Jack,
all that well.
is there a way that we could help them out for this Labor Day? I just think that, I understand exactly, the issue, and I do think that that's a whole different segment for us that's really important to kind of keep up. And so is there a way that we can just help them out with that little bit of extra time? I mean,
Yeah,
does it
so,
really
yeah.
make a big difference if you're
he
doing-
really emphasized August 29th because there's the band that everybody knows in the Hispanic community, in Arcadia and Independence. There's a band on the 29th that everyone knows, so he really emphasized, wanting to do it on the 29th. And he gave me kind of a 2-day thing for the end of August, and then it would be an October 4th one as well.
I think we should try to, if we can, try as much as we can, try to give them a little bit of leeway there because obviously, I mean, that serves a different demographic. And I feel like it also gets people more into understanding camping, outdoors, that kind of thing. I don't think it can hurt. And, let's try to be as accommodating to him as we can. It's a big deal, I can't imagine that you're gonna find too many people that are gonna put on this kind of event for you.
No,
You
absolutely
know,
not. It's
so,
very unique.
so what can we do to help him do the best that he can do for this? Can we just waive this couple-hour thing or whatever, and,
That's what he implied, just for this one day, October
I-
4th would stay
yeah.
the same, and
For me, I think if he's making his effort and holding up his end, I don't see why we can't. And if people in the committee said, or in the community may say, well, you're giving him special treatment, no, we're not. He's more than held up his end. I think we can do a little leeway. Especially, not only that, but other things going on, it just added up really bad.
we just have to keep the campers in mind, make sure that they know. We can maybe, anyone that I see for Labor Day weekend, I give them a shout right away instead of waiting, a week or two.
yeah,
so
I
people can
would,
plan.
I would just give this over to our handy dandy new little tourism person, and I'm guessing, without a doubt, that with that demographic for camping, it's huge. So all you have to do is just make sure that you're targeting that group, and you're gonna have Labor Day filled just because of the event, not, and it'll be like an Ashley thing. That's kind of how it goes, so I would do the best we can to promote that for him.
Right, that's a good point, Lori, since it's a 2-day thing,
Yeah,
we really
exactly.
make a focus on camping.
And you can do a 2-day minimum. Because of that, it's all good.
One of the things you realize when you put on an outdoor event,
Go ahead, Jean.
If we do this, would there be anything we'd have to do through Corp Council or through them for extra finances or legal things, or this would be covered?
This would be covered through their insurance.
Yep, I don't think they have
Okay,
like a
it would
time
just-
thing on it.
It would just be
Okay, then.
I would want to mention the extension to Corp Council since it's past quiet hours. And keep,
Right, so
make
then it
sure
can
everyone
be added
knows.
into the account. Yeah,
Anyone that registers for camping knows, and if we can do those two things, then I
Yep,
think it's possible.
and that's super easy to do, How about, Bob, did you have a question or thought?
yes, one of the things you got to realize when you put on an outdoor event, there's only one person in charge. That's Mother Nature.
Yes.
Usually, it's not too good a luck on
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend with precipitation and that.
Absolutely.
You put money out, you ain't getting it back if it rains.
Right, and that's not on us, that's on him. I
Right.
mean,
But I mean, all of a sudden he said, guys, I can't pay ya because I didn't have the crowd. Well, guess what? That's
Well,
how she works.
he's got to pay beforehand,
Yeah.
before the event, so
But
that's.
I know our Rod and Gun Club, we had an ice fishing contest, years with no water, years with no ice. One year, the high for the day was 20 below zero. You got to be creative to pull something like that off.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's up
yeah.
to you. You just can't expect everybody to bail you out.
And he did talk about incorporating a circus tent this go-around, and that'll be good for, I mentioned it to our emergency manager, because our only plan was evacuation for this last one. But in the case of severe weather, it would be good to have a tent on site for sure. And for shade on a hot day.
Do we need to make a motion on that?
Jack, do we need anything?
Do you need a
motion-wise?
motion? Do you need anything from us, or?
I
just
think
recommendations is all you're
Yeah,
looking for.
yeah. Just recommendations. We've approved kind of this event. It's just something that I probably will have to mention being past quiet hours and mention to campers, so.
Yep,
I think it's fine for this go-around, and then we try to formalize it for 26.
All right, sounds good.
I love it. Okay,
CIP and outdoor recreation improvement planning, doing some entrance signage development at Petrick Park, and we'll get to that a little later on. And continuing to be present at these Trempealeau County Music Series events. And we have a marketing, the two marketing items are the posters. There's total, I think, 48 around the county. And then there's radio advertisements, and we've spent about 800 in total for just those two things, and it's a very good thing to promote our municipalities and businesses that hold these events in public venues. So yeah, we can move on to the next one.
anything else? Okay. Then we need, item number 11 is the cross-country meet at Petrick Park with Independence High School. Discussion, possible action.
Yeah, so I have Gene Cicilla on with me, the athletic director with Independence and cross-country coach, and they would like to bring back a cross-country meet to Petrick Park. Haven't had one there since the 90s. And they proposed kind of a map and a plan to me via email, and I thought it was a great idea. Love kind of working, planning this stuff and putting it together, but I'll just have to, give Gene the opportunity to work with me, and we can come up with something good that's for the park. But basically, they would bounce things off me, and I would kind of maybe have a suggestion or two, but nothing major. And then we'd have to do some editing to our special event, small gatherings, and kind of have that document already in place. That was something I worked with Corp Council following the rodeo event. We wanted something for if we got questions for something like this. So it's glad that we had something on file, and then I have something to kind of work off of. But basically, I wanted to introduce the plan and our guest to talk a little bit, and then also just try to proceed with an August 28th cross-country event at Petrick Park so they can do their planning when it comes to scheduling with other athletics from other high schools. So I think it's a great opportunity, something that hasn't been done at the park in a long time. And I'll open up the floor to Gene and stop sharing quick.
Morning. So I'm Jenna Sensala.
Jenna, sorry,
some of
I'm
you might
sorry.
be familiar with you. That's all right. So like Jack had said, I am the athletic director at the Independence High School, and I've coached high school cross country now for 14 years. So it's always been something in the back of our mind of trying to do. We just don't have any other opportunity to host like a home meet on our campus, just where we're situated, and having to either run really random routes or we have to run through parking lots and a lot of other things. So when I was in high school in Arcadia, just before we moved out to Schultz's family farm, my cousins used to run at Petrick. That was their cross-country course, their home course. So my kids and I go out and we enjoy it. We canoe it, we kayak it, and et cetera. And so I'm like, there's an opportunity here, but it just takes a little bit of planning and a little bit of organizing. So some of you might not be familiar with cross country, some of you might be. The meet that we're looking to host is more so a small local meet. So more of our local schools, think of like Dairyland Conference schools, Arcadia, et cetera, that are close. Really early season, just to kind of get the kids into the swing of racing, into the mindset prior to their season. When it's cross country, there's not a whole lot that is necessary, but there are parts that are impacting like that recreational area. So obviously parking for buses, parking for spectators, having like a tent area or what we consider a camp area, which would be kind of around the shelter. Cross-country courses can be pretty unique of repeated loops or overlapping loops and et cetera. Right now we're looking at more of like the perimeter. We run some of our practices out there if we're going to do 800 or 600 repeats because it's fairly flat. It's nicely mowed, so we can usually get the perimeter in a lot of those areas. So we had sent a map to Jack, and it would be like a loop and a half type of course to get the 3.1 miles. Shouldn't be impacting a whole lot of like the camping area. It would just be knowing like on that evening that you're going to have kids running kind of all over the place. We would have like an ATV that usually leads out to those races, and sometimes we'll even go back and like follow the end to make sure all the competitors finish. We have volunteers that'll be at a finish line. We'll use like removable flagging. There is some like spray paint that we put down just to kind of outline like a lane for your path or directional arrows of kind of where to turn and what flag to use. So like the actual, like land impact is fairly minimal the night of, but obviously there's days before where we do have to set it up and then we'd obviously have it taken down, immediately after. But any other questions or concerns of like what the meet would entail?
Jenna, is this a one-shot deal, or are you going to use it a couple different times during the season?
We would probably host just one meet during the season, but I would like to make it an annual meet. It is something that, like, once we have it set up, I would probably guarantee my team, the high school team, would probably be out there like multiple times, but just for practices. And so it'd be a couple of our vehicles on a certain section of it, but we would not be hosting multiple meets throughout the season. It would just be like a one-time event. And if we could get to the point of making it annual, it'd be nice to be able to have an annual home meet.
Jenny, you probably mentioned this, but what date were you looking at?
We're looking at right now the August 28th. And so I know like August is busy with Ashley for the Arts and such things, but this would be like a Thursday, still pretty early in the school year. So I know that, with advanced warning, I would have enough, maybe even alumni that would be able to be available for volunteers and having like our parents. Usually for a cross-country meet, gun goes off at 4:30 for one of the first races. We're having awards by 6:30. Things are starting to get wrapped up by 7:30. So like the window of the evening, it's not like we're going to be going late because races have to be done, prior to sunset. So.
And what area does this draw from? Is it our local area or is it beyond?
Yep, it would just be our local area.
Okay.
So right now we've reached out to like Blair Taylor, Whitehall, Arcadia, Independence, obviously. Maybe the stretch of Oliva, but we would probably keep it as fairly local as possible.
Okay.
Kind of like a county meet?
Yeah, similar to like our county meet that we have. Yep.
So question, the trails that you would need, I saw the map, looks pretty cool. Would there be extra work for mowing and preparing those areas?
I think the only thing that would be needed would be to make sure that it's mowed. And then if it's along some of the perimeter lines, there might just be some trimming that would be needed so there's no like overhang. But myself and a couple of my assistants would be more than welcome to be able to help out with those things. But there shouldn't be any shouldn't be any like, hey, let's make a new trail through this and have to do some brush hogging. We're trying to use what is already set there.
Okay.
And knowing that it's fairly flat and it's mowed, that's like ideal.
Yeah, I'm guessing Jack and his team might appreciate some help with
Sure.
the mowing.
Yeah, we could always have one of you guys meet with our groundskeepers, and I'm sure they'd love to just help out with that. That sounds something they'd be
Yep.
Actually,
excited to get started at the park for an annual event.
that close to Labor Day, mowing's going to be done anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So you want it to look at its best.
But in all those areas, I'm
Yeah, but they
talking
usually
about,
go-
if you're looking at the trail here, it looks like it's covering areas, and of course, I'm not that familiar.
I'll pull
That
it back
maybe-
up. I did attach it to the report, Jenna, so I can pull up
Okay.
that map quick.
Yep, so the trails are, for the most part, the perimeter. So if you think of like coming in along any of the roadways, as you go kind of to what my kids and I, or my family and I call it the bottom of Patriot Park, it would stay in kind of like that tree line of where you already mow down by the canoe landing or like the beach area, and then out and around that grassy area. We wouldn't go into the woods for any of the wooded trails just because if there is flooding or if it's a dry season, I know like if we push outside of August, you start looking at like the bow hunters and et cetera that might be around. So we're trying to kind of not be in some of those areas. And then the only other spot that kind of goes in would be over by your prairie work. That's up in the upper left-hand corner. But my kids and I walk those trails quite often. when we were out there in the summer and in the fall. So those would be pretty manageable. You wouldn't have to mow the prairie, obviously, but those trails are pretty well done that it wouldn't be something that we have to worry about, like making something new or anything of that nature.
I think it sounds very exciting.
Very good, yes.
Jack, would there be any conflicts as far as construction for the upgrading that we're doing? There'll be no preliminary digging that we have to have going on with our construction that's starting in October?
Not at that point, no.
All right, just double checking.
Great.
I'd like to incorporate a motion that we approve the Independence High School to have a cross-country track meet out there on a trial basis.
I second.
All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Perfect.
Cool.
And then a little addition to this, I see on the future, or down the line on our agenda here, August meeting, if possible, invite Jenna out there. It's easier to look at it than it is to look at a map in person if she would just come to our committee meeting.
Yeah, that'd be fine. We could do, we always have our, kind of a meeting at that point at the Claw Shelter, and you can come, I don't know, maybe at the conclusion of that when we walk the park.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I can let you know.
And at that point, I would probably have firm numbers of how many teams, to be able to expect so that I could give you a pretty good estimate of how many runners would be on the course for it, and then, how many vehicles roughly or buses that we would need to be expecting.
Sounds good, and I'll have some information that would be required on our end. I'll just have to do some editing of our small gathering special event. We actually haven't had a small it was approved, but we haven't actually had one yet. We're gonna have a wedding at the park, so I do have to do some edits to that document. So I'll get that over to you, and we can kind of communicate through email.
Is this
Awesome, I appreciate it.
Jenna, is this something that you would have concessions there also? People could get a pop or a water or a bag of
I've
popcorn?
considered it, but I'm thinking like the first go around, if concessions are minimal, it'll just be whatever we can put underneath in a few coolers and et cetera. I don't think this first year is something that I'm going to haul a popcorn machine and all of that kind of stuff out there just yet. And depending on weather, obviously we always have water, like coolers available. But concessions will probably be minimal. Nothing that I would be expecting, to need extra power, having to have other, equipment or appliances there at the moment.
But drinks will be available and things like that.
Yep.
Jenna, if you get a hold of me, this is Lori Severson, if you get a hold of me, we'll put together some little packets like the popcorn and the cotton candy and that kind of thing. We'll donate it to you, and then whatever you get from that, you can put towards your little cause there.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that, guys?
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for considering this. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be really awesome.
Me too. Yeah.
Get the word out there. Hey, they do that. That's all right. All right, Jack, my favorite thing to talk about. Campground occupancy.
So, numbers are improving when it comes to site count. So I wanted to highlight some of that, some numbers that where we are from last year and how we are sitting this year. We're sitting at the same number in site count in June as we were all of last year. So it's things are progressing, and there's multiple factors that come along with that. So we're glad and happy that we're starting to see an increase in use. So that's been kind of one of my main goals, is to improve traffic at Petrick Park. So I'm glad to see some stuff kind of showing, proving that. So
Can we just highlight the two, I think, one good thing that we did put some money to in the past, and so you did approve that, was that search engine optimization. And so that puts the name of Petrick Park up in the Google search, so that we're hoping like that really could correlate to this. So You know, and then again, with Lexi, working with Jack, we'll continue to look at how we can grow this. But I think this was very positive, and I like to think a lot of that
I
came
mean,
from
Jack,
that.
I wouldn't just like blow that off. Those are some pretty good numbers. Definitely better. I mean, when you look at that, those are much better than where we were a couple of years ago.
So I'll go down a little bit, because I highlighted some of like the percentage increases and whatnot. Kind of give you guys my plan. I got, like I said, goal was to improve RV rental opportunity and shelter last year and our occupancy rates. And then we've got a couple promotions to continue to increase that site count number. I'll probably be offering like some type of camping special from now until September 2nd, where you get 20% off of your campsite. And then the second one will be kind of like a mishmash of ones that we've done in the past called Stay the Season, kind of for hunters, $325 to keep your RV on 1 through 36 throughout the rest of the year, from September 3rd to the end of the camping season. So between those two, we should continue to make more of a difference this year. And then had some things with campground code that came up where we had to shut down our tent sites. So we learned how do we get those tent sites operational, because we do think that's a priority to have tent camping down in our lower loop.
Water and porta potties, right?
Yeah, porta potties and then a mixture of running water, getting a water line down there. We got a shelter down there that needs a little updating, and that whole area could use a little facelift. So that's definitely a priority moving forward, an area that we're thinking about. And then better communications and understanding with the health department, Eddie and Kai, and then just infrastructure changes, kind of knowing what we have to do, and then having a plan for it, not just being willy-nilly about things. Some of the things that I kind of wanted to highlight was near a 9% increase in occupancy in our electric RV sites. Group camping, 3% increase, and then overflow sites, we do have a 1% increase there. So I don't know if those are just for Ashley. I don't know if we just didn't get as many last year. But all our sites got filled for Ashley, and been communicating that. And then water and electric RV sites, which is a big one, 5% increase. And then near a 3% increase for our shelter rentals. So we are getting busier. Shelters rented almost every weekend, and I think we're starting to get just like our weekly and monthly options. They're more popular, and people are there a little bit more than they were last year. And just to have that thing filled rather than a lot of spots being vacant, that's going to be a big thing. Just I'm looking.
You know, one thing you might want to do is with the tent sites, because I would imagine that that's important to you. So I'd work with Eddie and say, Eddie, where can I put them for now? Where can I put these sites for now?
Right.
So as long as they're 400 feet from, you know,
Water,
that water or that bathroom, you're fine to go. And so, I mean, on a tent site, it's not like they need, you know, gravel and that type of thing. You can just plunk them on a piece of grass, you know? So that's I would work with, Eddie is really good at figuring out how it can be done, and that's what we need to teach those folks, is how it can be done. That's how they do it at the state now.
Primitive camping or kind of informal tent camping down there for so many years.
Yeah, that
So I
I'm
think
sure it's a
you
thing,
know,
yeah.
People already think that it's tent camping down there, so if we say, oh, the tent site's actually right here. I
Well,
mean,
it might
eventual
just-
goal is that, but I do agree with
if for
you.
now, it'll get you there, you know, and I think that's the most important thing, you know,
Right.
just get you there.
Absolutely. It's a good
Why
point.
couldn't in that lower site, you know, to help them along a little bit and stay within standards, is get a seasonal porta potty there? I mean, they do that in a lot of places, you know, get one in April after the cold season is done and take it out in October.
Yeah.
You know, you get these guys, they got a monthly rate, they come and clean it every week, and you don't have a mess.
Yep.
Number one, with the outhouses, the farm company I work for, or whatever, too, that franchisee, whatever, our corporate or whatever make us have to do that too, and we do the same thing at the poultry farm I work at too. We have the portable outhouses, and for a certain fee, they clean it for you and everything. So, and in one of my other day jobs, I have experience in that. And number two, I have a question. Have you had any disappointments that you've seen with having the tent camping at least temporarily suspended that you've heard from people?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a little confusion because people can tent camp down in our lower loop, but now I have to explain every time that they're going to have to do that in a group site. So it's just a little inconvenient and less accommodating.
And I would assume it's not the porta potties, it's the water, correct?
Right, and we're grandfathered in for 3 group sites with our 1992 code. So if we make any changes down there, it's a
Right.
total,
But I would be extremely cautious not to lose that grandfathering,
Exactly,
so you're
yep.
gonna need to figure out how to get water down there as quick as you can. Once you lose it, it's done.
and if we
So-
add water down there, we might lose it too, you know?
Get it close, get
Mm-hmm.
it 400 square feet, 400 square feet, that 400 square feet is the number. So get it close to 400 square feet and you're all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some key takeaways from that report were just, I think, like Becky said, those marketing keyword changes, that's been a huge part of it. We've got some better signage and communication with the campers than we have in the past. So there's stuff that's getting out there, people are seeing, when they're on site or over the phone, they're hearing from me. And then just putting more of a priority digitally to when it comes to our strategic pricing and our promotions. Making sure people kind of see that stuff online compared to, you know, how we've done things in the past. I think, you know, local people seeing it on Facebook and it getting shared, we have
Right.
much greater chance to make a greater impact for less of the cost.
Great. Anything else that you want to highlight there?
I got
Good
one
question.
thing, with your numbers up on the amount of usage there, has there been any consideration of plowing in some more water lines next to these pedestals where there's electricity? So you're gonna have electric and water at all of these sites in that new area that we put.
I mean, we've talked about it.
But
for
I mean,
sure.
what I'm getting at is you can see it's not gonna get smaller, it's gonna keep getting bigger,
Mm-hmm.
that you wanna keep up with the times, you know. I'm sure we don't have really any outstanding bills, you know, use some of this money as an investment
Yeah.
and plumb in some more water lines and then, okay, 1 year water lines, couple years some more electric lines, you know, and stuff like that. Kinda keep up with the times.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to think about adding water to 20 through maybe 29 and just leaving a few electric-only sites. Right now, we have 16 electric-only sites, and we don't need that many. If we just have a few for people to have the option if they want it, great. But yeah, that's something we've talked about, Bob, and I don't know how we can do it, but I think it's something that we've talked about with Simmons and Aberley, and we wanted to get through kind of this year on getting a few of our septic things done and then revisit it. So I do appreciate you mentioning it again.
I think the big key thing is getting that plan put together and then, you know, taking it to the state so that you have that plan in place. And then when you want to pull the trigger, it's easy to do, you know, but make sure you do it all at once.
Right.
Just because it's so much easier than to try to piecemeal stuff, specifically with the state. And you have to now have that plan ahead.
Right.
You can't just do it one piece at a time anymore.
And we're online since '23, so the state can see. That's how the 10 sites got shut down. They saw them online.
Wow.
And then we shut them down right after.
Yeah, they
Basically,
have
we
this
just closed
handy,
them off.
dandy thing called, you know, that they just take a look at Mother Earth there, and it just shows you right there where everything
Yep.
is, so.
Mother Earth must have been on vacation this week. And camping down in the lower.
Yeah.
Well, that is one thing about the state, they don't tend to work on
And
it.
that, like I said, it's the group site too, so people
Yeah.
can rent a
Can-
group
yeah.
site and tent camp down there.
Gotcha. And there's no charge for that when they do that?
No, they have to pay the group site fee for right now.
Oh, okay, all right.
which
Anything
is
else
just
on that
25.
one?
Nope.
All right, wonderful. The Kloss Center, or the Kloss Shelter, rental security deposit policy and campsite pricing protocols.
Yeah, so this is something that we had talked about last meeting, and it's something that just really needs to get on paper and kind of formalized, to have some type of policy written down on paper where everyone can see it and something that I can follow. So I took our meeting, our notes from last meeting, looked at Winnebago County and what they were offering, because I had something similar that I found for rodeo, so I looked at their shelter stuff too. And then also, there was a state statute when it came to security deposits that I found, which I don't know if we've been following. I've been kind of following unknowingly when it comes to the return of it. And basically, that's kind of why we've had to take pictures if there's been shelter damaged in the past, just hasn't got onto a report. So there's a couple things that you need to do with state statutes. So I took those 3 things and kind of factored them into my write-up here, and then also used some language that we had in Camp Spot that goes out to people when they rent. So basically, wanted to, I don't know if we've got to go over everything on this document, but want a reservation procedure, security deposit policy, leading to a damage report if there is damage in the shelter. And then that deposit return will follow the state statute, 704.28. And then if we were to take something away, it's got to be documented in a committee meeting. And then also anything when it comes to getting our security deposits back, that $250, we'll stick with that. That has to be returned within 3 weeks, and we typically try to get it out a few days after, and so that's been followed. But then itemized report, basically in the event of having to take that security deposit away. And then this is our cancellation and refund policy. Wanted to make sure that made its way on there. That's what we're currently following. This 14 days, I have gotten some calls on people that just rent, a campsite, and then we're gonna have to, keep their fee, if they had some last minute changes. So that was something that I have gotten a couple upset people call about that notice within 2 weeks, but it
That's a
is what it
norm.
is.
Yeah, that's a norm, I mean, I would just definitely get your policy in place and.
Yep. So I have been following that policy, and then this date change started to implement that. So just kind of wanted to get all of the stuff on paper, make a couple changes based on those references I mentioned, and probably have to get, since this is involving some pricing in the public, get some type of approval for this report and us following it starting next year. But we're already doing a lot of the stuff now.
I think I would add in there too, if possible, since this is the plastic time or day and age, is get a credit card, because
They
if these
do on, on
but-
Camp Spot, there's no other way to book, right?
Yeah, I've got the payment stuff on here.
But what I'm getting at is like the security deposit. All of a sudden somebody gives you $250 cash and their name is John Smith, and they're gone with a bunch of damage. At least you got a credit card. You can at least bill the credit card company
Oh,
for the damage.
We don't currently do that when we're renting?
We do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I was just gonna say we should have a credit or debit card, so that's
But we
taken
already
care of.
do, correct?
All right.
Right.
Okay.
And if someone was to pay for a shelter on site with like cash or a check, we get the whole amount. So that ends up being $466. And if there was damage, we're just take the whole thing. But now we're following a report thing explaining
Yep.
why we're taking it.
But Bob is correct, you should still, even if it's cash, you should still have that credit card on file. Yep, because it could be $2,000 worth of damage.
I agree, maybe they can pay cash, but have a credit or debit card
Yeah.
on file at the back, I agree.
Rich, did
Okay.
you have a
Yeah, I
question?
think this is great, but have you talked to Corp Counsel? Has she reviewed it and everything and approved it?
We did talk about it. We had a meeting last week, and I did mention this document to her, but she hasn't, I guess, formally reviewed it. She's seen it.
I think she should review it.
100%,
approve it.
and make sure that it's correct. And if she would like, we have an attorney that deals only in campground stuff, so be happy to have the two of them connect.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on that?
Is it okay if we go forward with like an approval after reviewed by Corp Counsel?
I mean, if she's okay with it, why would we not?
Because I did,
Right.
you know,
But if she makes
reference
some
meeting,
changes
it was
to it,
effect.
Suggestions to it, then he would have to bring it back.
Yeah.
Right.
We had an action item on it last meeting, and we have it again this meeting. So I don't want to bring it back again. And I, you know, took the notes from last meeting, state statutes, Winnebago County. So I think the sources that I used in developing this is a good concrete plan.
So you're
But I can have her, you know, formalize things. and
Yeah,
get that.
definitely, I would definitely do that, and I agree, Rich, that we should, if there are changes to that, then it needs to come back. Otherwise, they're
Per,
good to go.
maybe per clearance or approval of Corporation Council, maybe we can approve this, maybe.
Okay, so do you need a motion for that, or just a yes? Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go ahead. and
You
do a
bet.
motion.
I move that we adopt the policy and form pending corporate consultation.
I just want to add too, I guess Amy with fiscal did review it. We were worried about that, so Susan's seen it, fiscal's seen it and reviewed it, so.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? I think we're good to go on that. And then, public notice for construction of dual directional entrance signage at Petrick Park.
Yep, so, been in major discussions with, Corp Counsel with this plan. We've got a purchasing policy that needs some updating, so, there's some state statutes that we had to follow in our county's purchasing policy, when it came to this project. And it's a very subjective, you know, item, and Stoneworks got us, that stuff I showed you guys informally, I think it was last meeting. And they got us a good design, so we have to think about kind of this threshold, when it comes to getting 2 quotes and putting an ad in the paper. So this number, when I get a quote, is gonna depend on, basically, I'm anticipating, you know, this project to kind of be in between anywhere from 8 to 20. Stoneworks did get me a quote, or we talked about 8 to 12. And that's, you know, very low for typical like entrance signage. So there is some fluctuation with this, but the first kind of thing that we need to do is this public notice, giving, making sure that we're covered on our side of things and the opportunities out. I would have to get 2 quotes, and I'm likely gonna go with Stoneworks out of Holman for one of them. And then maybe ask them if we can use their design, so I can get a comparable quote elsewhere. That'll give us a plan for how we can get 2 quotes that are similar, and not just, you know, this other company throwing in a plan together that's not comparable to what Stoneworks is offering. So, should I read the public notice word for word here?
If,
I don't
We
think,
really- I don't
no, I don't think we need that.
It's not
Yeah.
necessary, Jack.
No, let's, yeah.
All right,
Anything else on that then, Jack?
no, that should
All
be good.
right, wonderful. August or September committee meeting at Petrick Park, update.
Yeah, so I think last meeting, we just decided if we're gonna be concrete on if we're gonna have it in August or September, so I wanted to get it on the agenda and then have you guys decide if we're gonna hold the claw shelter meeting in August. I think that is the 5th, and September would be the 2nd.
Let's have it in August.
That way we can,
Tentative agreement with the cross-country and ask you for darts and just kind of a walkthrough and see what's out there.
August 5th would be the tentative date if we follow procedure as far as our meeting scheduling.
August 10th?
August 5th.
5th, yes.
It'd be the Tuesday.
I will not be able to be here, just so you know. And so Lexi would be on board, and so she'll report, but I.
Supposed to bring donuts.
I know, that was my month, you know, yeah. Oh, yeah, if you want, like, the following week or so,
Yeah, we could do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that either, because that's. right
It'd be
at the
August
start of my
12th.
Beginning, so it'd be after everyone leaves the campground, so that'd be nice.
And I might have,
Highway. Then we would, I think we'd probably also have personal bargaining.
and I have to work my primary job, so I hate to put a,
Okay, so yeah.
Maybe
So we
two
might have
times
to
a
stick to
change.
the 5th.
Somebody else can bring the donuts,
Yeah,
Becky.
we got
I'll
you
bring
covered.
the donuts
We
if we
got you
need
covered,
donuts.
yeah.
It's Arcadia, so it's a short trip for me.
All right.
I can bring some coffee.
Does that work?
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gone that whole week. I mean, I could do, we could do the,
Monday, let's see.
no.
Monday's a bad day.
Monday's,
Yeah, don't go Monday,
14th.
please.
Thursday, the 14th?
Thursday, let me,
I'm good on the 14th.
Then we're only like 3 weeks away from our September meeting.
when is Highway Ridge? The second Tuesday. Personnel's on the Thursday, is it
I
not,
think,
Rebecca?
personnel would be the following week, the 21st, on the Thursday, the 21st.
So are we good for the Thursday, the 14th?
That'd be good for you, Becky.
It works for me.
I might not be able to make it, but you guys go ahead, decide, so.
Let's do it at Thursday, the 14th at 8:30, if that works.
Okay.
If you got it.
For what? Oh, yeah.
Okay. Got that done then, and we are, future agenda items. The addition of a rustic horse camping site adjacent to Petrick Park Arena, Majudak Phase, second adjustment, and we'll get those on the meeting, notice back. And then our next meeting will be August 14th at 8:30 at Petrick Park.
Very good.
Can we have a motion to adjourn? Do we need that? or
You
just
don't
say-
need a motion to adjourn if you completed your agenda.
Okay, we are adjourned.